My name is Christopher, and I'll be presenting alongside Kirill and Christoph for Czech Powerhouse Gym. So for our business, we decided to run a 24-hour traditional weightlifting barbell style gym. So what this means is we won't have aerobic classes, personal trainers, or the traditional machines that most gyms offer. What we'll instead focus on is traditional barbell movements, which allows us to cut a lot of overhead costs as well as reduce our gym size. These two factors put together resides in a much lower membership cost than most gyms, as well as having a tight-knit community environment inside of our gym. So because of our reduced layout and size, we'll only need 1 to 2 employees working at a time. And so we'll need 1 employee working primarily for checking in and signing up new members, as well as the occasional sanitization, but we'll have a secondary member working during our busiest hours just to help with overflow. For the sake of the project, we went about the market description and the future predictions as if COVID was unaffected. And so what this means is prior to the pandemic, fitness was a rapidly expanding field in Prague, particularly gyms and fitness clubs, as well as solariums. And so our market would be strictly for barbells and powerlifting gyms, and there are only 5 true powerlifting gyms in all of Prague. But beyond that, there are only 2 24-hour gyms in all of Prague as well. So what this means is we'd be the only 24-hour powerlifting gym, the second 24-hour gym, as well as the 6th true powerlifting gym. And so we have quite a few niches working for us in that area. And so our only main competition in Prague 1 would be John Reed, the other 24-hour gym that is also centrally located. But they have a slew of patrons who have already been actively speaking out against all their services and wishing to transfer. And so we compete with other gyms not by offering a general fitness opportunity, but by offering a specialized function. The other powerlifting gyms are often crowded, require long-term memberships to join, as well as tedious contracts to sign up into. But we offer a monthly drop-in rate, as well as a monthly rate that can be paid yearly. And so we offer a lot of flexibility to our clients, as well as the option to just simply come in, try our gym, and leave, whereas all the other gyms require that you go in, sign a long-term contract. The equipment we have bought should set us up for the first 5 years. And beyond that, there isn't much depreciation to it either. And so we only have to depreciate the non-traditional barbell equipment. And so this is our bikes, our treadmills, as well as the other small moving part things. Whereas the iron barbells and racks should last for up to 30 to 40 years. Beyond that, we have 4 racks, which should allow us to set up a CrossFit style gym in a very small location, allowing us to maximize our money spent as well as our consumers' money spent. And so if we tried to set up a conventional Czech or American style gym, we'd probably end up spending 2 to 3 times more. So we start with a small gym that has a change room and the bathrooms we need, but then after success, assuming we have some, we'd be able to expand and move. So our assumed wages payable is also built off of our employee rotation, and so we plan to have 1 employee working at all times for a 24-hour period, but occasionally we can put in a second one in the day during the rush hour periods that come in the late morning and early afternoon, as well as the after work rush. And so this allows us to have smooth signups while also having the regular maintenance and sanitization that most gyms need.
Hello. Czech Powerhouse Gym allows the people to work out in a spacious powerlifting gym. The gym will be open for 24 hours, which is very comfortable for many people. The self-check-in lets you to concentrate on your traditional individual weight training, so people will feel calmness and pacifically. Our income statement and loss account shows, despite profitability, we have the risk of highly consistent expenses. If a dip in income leads to period 1 revenue, the gym would face foreclosure within a year. As we don't sell traditional products but a service, we have no cost of goods sold. Our profits come from monthly memberships. And so we are not looking for just return customers, as we gain no additional profit from someone coming 7 times a week versus coming once. We want unique clients. Our revenue surpasses expenditures after period 1 and continues to rise after, with marginal gains. Maintaining stable expenses is the best way for us to remain profitable, as our total revenue is unlikely to go much higher without additional expenditures. We're asking for the loan of 98,890 crowns. By our calculations in Excel, it will take our gym 108 periods and expected to be paid off. The equipment cost that we are going to purchase will be 345,560 crowns, and monthly expenditure will be 120,666 crowns, which mostly is rent and salaries, of course. Our opening expenditure will be spent on equipment and the first month of the rent. The amount of it is 370,226 crowns. Our net income for the first period isn't promising and goes below our expectations, but then for the second period, the total revenue are planned to be increased by 45,600 crowns. As you can see, our net income is constantly increasing and gives a very successful business to run. I'm going to tell some of the major highlights of our business. It is very comfortable, which is very important to every one of us. Self-check-in, less crowded. It is very important, especially it is very important for me. Unique memberships, 24/7, and location, of course. I'm gonna tell some risky factors. Injuries might occur if a person is not cautious enough. Disaster-related losses, emergency losses, employees' mistakes. I'm gonna list some factors to improve our results. Use social media to spread positive reviews, know our competition, train employees, keeping it clean, maintain and replace equipment if needed, make it a fun place to be. So that's it for me. Thank you.
And I will now take you through our last part of the presentation, where I will be talking about opening and closing balance sheet, a little bit about income, and then cash flow, as well as return on equity. So for our opening balance sheet, we start with 850,000 Czech crowns in our own savings, which will more than cover our starting expenses. But gyms often face liquidity problems until they have constant repeat customers. So to avoid any liquidity problems, we will take out a long-term loan of nearly 100,000 Czech crowns. This would be a realistic and achievable loan amount for equity. This loan has an interest rate of 4.08% per annum. We will have very little short-term debt with this business, as we have liquidity access. But this is required for gyms, as several months suspension of business due to COVID would most likely result in our closure. Our equipment is our main purchase. This is all our gym equipment we will need, including the property and the improvements required, until we can potentially expand into another location. Our closing balance sheet. Well, obviously we have some changes in the balance sheet from the previous one. We've lost some money on our equipment due to depreciation. We also have now accounts receivable, and we have wages payable, and retained earnings and profit as well. So our total on the closing balance sheet came up to 1,133,444 Czech crowns. The problem is that there is once again a liquidity access, but after 6 months of hypothetical revenue, the company is fully self-sufficient regardless of our own savings. There was a rounding error in the cash flow and income statement, which had caused a slight shift in the balancing of the books as well. Regardless, we are a highly liquid company with almost no short-term liabilities, as we prepaid majority of our costs with our startup cash. I will now talk about the income statement, or the graph for the income statement. So in the first month, in the first 2 periods, we haven't been doing that well, obviously, because we have prepaid expenses, and most of our expenditures have been done in the first 2 periods. But we can easily fix this problem with either increase of our patron members, or with simply lowering the prices. Then now I will talk about the cash flow. So compared to the income statement, as my colleagues previously talked about, the cash flow reveals how we have been able to save equity, as even after making the expenditure purchase in period 1, we have a surplus of 577,059 Czech crowns and 50 cents, and this is the lowest at the end period balance reaches, as the revenue can hopefully surpass our expenditures immediately, leading to a large equity savings. We could reinvest this into our business, but currently saving seems to be a smarter plan.